the most important battle of your entire life is being lost in the first 5 minutes of your morning. The moment you open your eyes and immediately reach for your phone, you hand control of your attention to the outside world before you have even taken control of yourself. You are taking the most valuable currency you possess, your attention, and handing it over to a world that constantly competes for it. You wake up and immediately let the noise of opinions, the highlight reels of strangers, and endless information dictate how you feel before you have even decided who you are going to be today. This is not a time management problem. You do not lack time, and you certainly do not lack the ability to build something extraordinary with your life. What you are missing is an identity. Somewhere along the way, through comparison, doubt, criticism, and past mistakes, you slowly trained yourself to live beneath your own power. You learned to shrink yourself to accommodate weak habits and measure your value through the opinions of people who cannot see your future. But that pattern ends today. I want you to act as if you are the best, not because you have already proven everything to the world, but because the moment you start shrinking yourself, you begin betraying your own potential. Listen carefully, because this is not arrogance. This is not about walking into a room and thinking you are superior to everyone else. This is about discipline, internal alignment, and profound self-respect. It is the quiet, unbreakable decision to stop negotiating with your mind and to act from the version of yourself you are becoming instead of the fears that used to control you. When you act as if you are the best, you make a deliberate choice to align your actions with your absolute highest standards. You cannot act like the best while thinking like the weakest version of yourself. Real transformation never begins with results. It begins with identity. Because outcomes do not create identity, identity creates outcomes. If you continue to see yourself as someone who is easily distracted, your attention becomes fragmented and your identity slowly weakens. But when you wake up and claim those first crucial moments of your day, your mornings become the command center of your life. You send a psychological signal to your nervous system that you are someone who takes action rather than someone who reacts. This is the Stoic realization that while you cannot control the noise of the world outside, you have absolute authority to treat your attention like a guarded fortress. The world will only respect the standards you refuse to compromise on. So stop negotiating with your weaknesses. Stop walking into rooms with hesitation, as if you are asking for permission to exist. The version of you that exists tomorrow is not shaped by wishes, but by the structure you build deliberately, decision by decision, habit by habit, and day by day. Every single day, your mind wakes up with the raw potential to think clearly, to create brilliant ideas, and to move deliberately toward the life you want to build. Yet, most people take this fragile, powerful potential and drop it immediately into an environment filled with absolute chaos. Before you have even eaten your breakfast, you force your brain to process thousands of pieces of random information. You scroll through the highlight reels of strangers. You absorb the endless complaints of people you do not even know. And you constantly measure your own reality against curated illusions. You might think this is just harmless entertainment, but it is a slow, silent destruction of your character. Noise does not simply distract you. Noise completely reshapes you. It pulls your attention away from the only voice that actually matters, which is your own internal command. When your mind is overflowing with hundreds of external voices, it becomes physically impossible to hear your own direction. Your attention becomes violently fragmented. Your energy scatters into a dozen different directions, and your true identity slowly begins to weaken. You absolutely cannot build a powerful, commanding life while your mind is constantly locked in a state of reacting to every single signal around you. You are suffering from the disease of constant noise, and it is making you sick with chronic hesitation. This is the true root of your insecurity. You probably believe your biggest struggle is a lack of discipline or a lack of clarity. But the much deeper problem is that your mind is severely overcrowded. Because you cannot think deeply in a noisy environment, you can only react impulsively. And when you live a life of constant reaction, you inevitably start shrinking yourself. You begin to shrink your ambitions to accommodate your weak habits. You lower your daily standards because the digital environment you consume every morning tells you that being average is completely acceptable. If you repeatedly tolerate environments that make you feel small, your identity will silently adapt to that exact message. You start walking into rooms with your shoulders lowered, speaking with an uncertain voice, waiting for someone else to validate your existence. You become a passive passenger in your own body, accepting labels from past failures as if they are permanent definitions of who you are. But you must understand that stepping out of this noise is not about believing you are superior to the rest of the world. This is not arrogance. It is about profound internal alignment and mental discipline. It is the Stoic realization that protecting your mind is not an optional luxury. It is absolute survival in a world that profits from your distraction. You must stop allowing your attention to be a wide-open doorway that any random thought, opinion, or distraction can simply walk through. You are handing the keys to your kingdom to thieves. The moment you begin filtering out the noise and refusing to consume the chaos, you stop shrinking and finally start expanding into the space you were meant to occupy. To step out of that chaotic noise and reclaim your power, you must completely change the way you view the first hour of your day. Most people think about their morning routine as a strategy to get more work done or a way to simply become a little more productive. That is a weak perspective. You must stop looking at your morning as just the start of the clock and begin treating it as the command center of your entire life. Before the outside world begins making its endless demands on your attention, before the responsibilities, the emails, and the loud opinions of strangers flood your mind, you possess a very small, incredibly powerful window of time where your mind is entirely yours. What you choose to do during this exact window quietly sets the psychological tone for every single decision that follows. The strongest individuals on earth do not negotiate with their mornings. They do not wake up and hope to feel motivated. They claim their mornings. They violently protect them. They use those first sacred minutes to place themselves into a position of absolute leadership over their own mind. I want you to act as if you are the unquestioned leader of your life. When you begin your day intentionally, even with something as simple as 1 hour without digital noise, your mind shifts into an entirely different state. You are sending a direct, unavoidable signal to your nervous system that you are someone who commands reality rather than someone who merely reacts to it. You are not practicing this discipline just to be successful. You are practicing this discipline because you refuse to be controlled. Remember the Stoic principle we discussed. This is not about building an oversized ego or believing you are superior to the people around you. This is the ultimate form of self-respect. It is the discipline of emperors and philosophers. It is the quiet, unbreakable decision to stop betraying your own potential for the sake of temporary comfort. When your mind is filled with doubt, hesitation, or the echoes of past criticism, those negative thoughts become the automatic script that your behavior will blindly follow for the rest of the day. But when you anchor your command center with deliberate intention, you forcefully interrupt the old, weak patterns that used to dictate your actions. You must replace the noise with deliberate action. Remind yourself that you are capable, that you show up, and that you lead your life. These are not empty motivational phrases or toxic positivity. They are psychological directives. They are instructions to your subconscious mind, reminding it exactly who is in charge. Outcomes do not create your identity. Your identity creates your outcomes. By mastering the command center of your morning, you rebuild your identity from the ground up, ensuring that when you finally step out into the loud, demanding world, you are completely untouchable and unshakable in your purpose. Now that you have established your morning as your ultimate command center, You must equip yourself with the exact weapons required to defend it. The most dangerous threat to your new identity is not a lack of motivation. It is the constant invasion of your attention. Your brain was absolutely not designed to process thousands of pieces of random information before you even eat your breakfast. When you overload your system with that level of stimulation, deep thinking becomes impossible, and you are forced to spend the rest of your day simply reacting. This is exactly why you must implement the 90-minute rule of absolute focus. For the first 90 minutes of your day, every single notification is turned off. Every digital distraction is completely removed, and your full attention is forcefully directed towards something that actually matters. During this specific window, you are no longer a consumer of the world. You become a creator of your own reality. But silence alone is not enough. You must treat your mind like an impenetrable fortress by establishing a strict mental whitelist and a ruthless mental blacklist. The whitelist includes only the voices that strengthen the exact identity you are building. It contains the mentors you learn from, the ideas that challenge you to grow, and the information that aggressively expands your perspective. These are the inputs that remind you exactly who you are becoming. The blacklist, however, must be merciless. It contains the platforms that keep your mind scattered, the content that triggers useless comparison, and the conversations that drain your energy. You do not negotiate with the blacklist. You completely eliminate it. Your attention must stop being an open doorway that any random opinion can casually walk through. Yet, you must understand that the most destructive noise you will ever face does not come from the outside world. It comes from inside your own head. Even when your phone is powered off and the room is completely silent, your mind will attempt to replay old doubts, past failures, and limiting beliefs. It will tell you that you are not ready, that you are not capable, or that you are not quite good enough yet. When this internal resistance appears, do not panic and do not let it dominate your thinking. Acknowledge the thought, and then immediately replace it with a deliberate directive. Remind yourself that your mind is your own territory, and you alone decide what is allowed to grow inside of it. This practice of solitude is not isolation. It is absolute leverage. It is the exact space where your strongest ideas develop and where your identity solidifies. You are not locking the world out because you are arrogant or because you believe you are superior. You are locking the world out because you respect your own potential far too much to let anyone else dictate your focus. When you consistently guard the fortress of your mind and violently protect your attention, a profound transformation begins to take shape beneath the surface. You must remember the person you used to be, the one who would walk into rooms with hesitation, with shoulders slightly lowered, and a voice completely filled with uncertainty. That past version of you lived as if you were constantly asking the world for permission to simply exist. And the world reflected that exact uncertainty right back at you by overlooking your potential. But the moment you commit to this new standard, that old identity shatters. Your thoughts change first, then your posture completely shifts, and finally, your decisions become undeniable. Eventually, the outside world will inevitably notice the difference in the way you speak, the way you move, and the heavy energy you carry. Strength becomes visible to everyone else only because it was first built entirely internally. When you finally step out into the demanding world after mastering your morning command center, you arrive as someone who is completely untouchable. This is not because you are desperately demanding attention or acting with arrogance. It is because your physical presence now signals absolute readiness and profound self-respect. The way you stand, the way you breathe, and the way you hold your head communicate a quiet stability that forces the environment around you to adjust to your energy. You stop rushing your words. You stop moving nervously. You stop trying to escape the space you occupy, and instead, you claim it with deliberate intention. As this new identity solidifies, something incredibly powerful happens to your reality. the loud, chaotic world outside completely loses its ability to control your emotional state. The criticism of people who are not building anything no longer intimidates you. The toxic habit of comparing your life to the illusions of strangers becomes entirely irrelevant. Random opinions stop shaping your decisions because you no longer react impulsively. You respond deliberately from a place of unshakable alignment. By the time other people finally recognize your growth and start offering their approval, you will realize that you no longer need it. Their validation does not dictate your direction because you have already proven to yourself that your internal belief was absolutely justified. You have built a character and a mindset strong enough to carry the exact future you demand to create. You no longer see yourself as someone waiting for the perfect moment or hoping for a stroke of luck. You recognize yourself as the ultimate architect of your own momentum. The greatest achievement of this entire process is not just reaching a specific goal or acquiring a certain level of status. The ultimate reward is looking in the mirror and knowing you have become someone who refuses to shrink, someone who refuses to negotiate with weakness, and someone who will never stop expanding into their absolute highest power. But you must understand that stepping into this highest power will immediately introduce you to the most dangerous phase of your entire journey. It is not the beginning when your motivation is running incredibly high, and it is certainly not the end when your success becomes obvious to everyone around you. The most difficult stage is the middle, the quiet, invisible season where you are working with absolute consistency, yet your external results remain completely unseen. This is exactly where most people surrender. They look around. They see other people seemingly moving faster or receiving instant recognition, and they allow a toxic wave of doubt to convince them that their effort is completely wasted. Because the human mind is desperately addicted to immediate evidence. We want instant proof that our discipline is actually working. When that proof does not appear immediately, the weak mind instantly searches for an excuse to quit. But you are no longer operating with a weak mind. You must realize that true transformation almost always happens entirely beneath the surface, long before anyone else can validate it. Just like the roots of a massive tree spreading deep underground before it ever breaks through the soil. Your new identity is quietly developing in the dark. Every single disciplined decision you make, every hour of deep focus you maintain, and every moment you choose to continue, despite extreme discomfort, is actively forging a much stronger version of yourself. During this invisible season, you must take absolute ownership of your reality. You must completely destroy the habit of making excuses. Excuses might feel incredibly safe because they secretly protect your ego and allow you to blame your circumstances, your environment, or other people for your lack of visible progress. But every single time you use an excuse, you are silently whispering to your subconscious mind that you are entirely powerless, that your life is controlled by outside forces. That is a direct betrayal of your new identity. Ownership means looking at your exact situation, no matter how difficult or unfair it might seem, and asking yourself what deliberate action you can take right now, when the internal resistance feels overwhelming, when your mind begs you to stop and promises you that quitting will bring immediate relief. You must deploy the most powerful psychological weapon you possess, which is the principle of just one more. When you want to close your work, demand just one more page. When your body wants to quit, force just one more repetition. When your focus completely breaks, command just one more minute. These tiny acts of deliberate defiance against your own comfort are not just about simple productivity. They are sending a direct, unarguable signal to your brain that discomfort is no longer a reason to stop. It is the exact trigger for you to push even harder. You are training yourself to become someone who remains fiercely loyal to their future, completely independent of whether the world is applauding for you right now or not. When you make the decision to execute the principle of just one more, you will inevitably encounter the harsh reality of failure. Most people completely misunderstand what failure actually is. They interpret a setback, a mistake, or a moment of weakness as a permanent verdict on their identity. They believe that because they failed, they must be a failure. But you are operating on an entirely different level now. You must act as if every single obstacle is specifically placed in your path to train you for the exact future you are demanding. Failure is not the opposite of progress. It is the exact mechanism through which progress happens. The old version of you would fall, feel humiliated, and immediately retreat into the comfort of your weak habits. You would use that failure as a convenient excuse to stop completely, telling yourself that the goal was simply unrealistic or that you lacked the natural talent. But the commanding identity you are building right now does not have the luxury of retreating. When you encounter severe resistance, when your progress feels completely interrupted, you must deploy absolute emotional control. This is the absolute core of Stoic discipline. It is not about pretending that losing does not hurt. And it is certainly not about forcing a state of toxic positivity when your plans completely collapse. It is the unshakable understanding that your emotional reaction does not dictate your next deliberate action. When the chaotic world tries to pull you backward, you must evaluate the situation without any fragile ego. You look at the mistake, you violently extract the necessary lesson, and you immediately return to action, even if that next action is incredibly small. Forward movement instantly restores your psychological momentum. Every single time you rise after a significant setback, you are forcefully rewriting the narrative inside your subconscious mind. You are collecting undeniable evidence that you are someone who is entirely capable of recovery. Over time, this repeated action absolutely destroys your fear of failure, because you finally realize that a setback cannot permanently stop you unless you explicitly give it permission to do so. You must stop measuring your worth by the immediate external results you achieve and start measuring your character by the quality of the decisions you make when everything feels incredibly difficult. Did you maintain your deliberate focus when the environment became completely chaotic? Did you hold tightly onto your vision when absolutely nobody else could see it? Did you honor the firm commitment you made to yourself when the initial enthusiasm completely vanished? Those invisible, quiet victories are the concrete foundation of your new reality. You must fiercely protect your vision because the outside world will constantly try to offer you a smaller, much more comfortable path. But you fundamentally refuse to compromise your standards. You are no longer someone who hopes for favorable conditions. You are the architect of your own momentum, remaining unconditionally loyal to your future. As you remain unconditionally loyal to your future and repeatedly push through the resistance of the invisible season, a profound shift happens that completely alters your reality. The quiet, disciplined decisions you made when absolutely nobody was watching finally begin to compound. You must understand that progress requires time to multiply, but when it finally breaks through the surface, it becomes a force that is entirely impossible to ignore. The habits you practiced in total silence begin producing visible, undeniable outcomes. But the most shocking realization you will experience is that by the time the outside world finally notices your transformation, their validation will mean absolutely nothing to you. The old version of you would have waited desperately for their applause, using their recognition as permission to feel confident. That old identity needed external proof to believe in its own worth. But the new identity you have forged in the dark does not need permission to lead. When you act as if you are the best, you are no longer pretending. It is no longer a conscious effort. It has become your default state of being. You walk into rooms and you no longer shrink to make other people feel comfortable. Your presence commands respect because your internal energy is completely stabilized. This is the ultimate Stoic victory. It is the absolute alignment of your thoughts, your posture, and your actions. People will look at your steady movement, listen to the calm certainty in your voice, and wonder how you achieved such unshakable confidence overnight. They will not see the thousands of times you chose to execute the principle of just one more. They will not see the mornings you forcefully reclaimed your command center from the chaotic noise, and you do not need to explain it to them. Your responsibility is not to convince the world of your value. Your responsibility is to represent the highest standards you have chosen for your life. When you reach this level of internal authority, you realize that the external goals you originally chased were merely the training ground. The true prize was never the status, the recognition, or the applause. The ultimate achievement is looking in the mirror and recognizing a mind that cannot be broken, a focus that cannot be hijacked, and a character that refuses to surrender. You have built an impenetrable fortress that will carry you through any storm the world throws at you. You have stopped negotiating with your weakness and completely eliminated the habit of making excuses. You are no longer a passenger waiting for the perfect conditions to align. You are the undisputed architect of your own destiny. Therefore, the next time you encounter an obstacle, you will not shrink back into doubt. You will stand tall, breathe deliberately, and step forward into the resistance, knowing that you have already won the most important battle inside your own mind. This is the final phase of your transformation, and it requires the most intense level of vigilance you have ever practiced. As you step forward into your new reality, you must be prepared for the fact that the world will constantly try to hand your old identity back to you. The environment that once kept you small will offer you the familiar comfort of your past weaknesses. People around you might invite you to complain, to doubt yourself, and to compromise your newly established standards because your unshakable dedication suddenly forces them to confront their own lack of movement. When this inevitable resistance happens, you must remain completely silent in your conviction. You do not need to angrily announce your departure from their level, and you certainly do not need to defend your discipline. Your undeniable actions will announce your evolution for you. I want you to act as if you are the best, embodying the absolute highest standard of your character right now, in this exact moment. Do not wait for 10 years from now when you finally feel completely ready. Readiness is an illusion carefully constructed by a fearful mind to keep you safely inside your comfort zone. The absolute truth is that you become ready the exact moment you decide to take extreme ownership of your attention, your environment, and your daily actions. If you continue to wait for a feeling of perfect certainty before you begin living at your full potential, you will spend the entire remainder of your life waiting. But you are entirely finished with waiting. You have successfully reclaimed the first hours of your day. You have established an impenetrable command center. You have built a mental fortress, violently filtering out the endless digital noise and the toxic opinions of people who are not building anything meaningful. You have accepted that the quiet, invisible season is exactly where your true power is permanently forged. You have embraced the Stoic principle of demanding just one more step to completely crush the limits of your own comfort. Furthermore, every single time you encounter a failure, you now extract the necessary lesson and immediately rise, proving to your subconscious mind that failure is simply a mandatory training ground rather than a final destination. This is the profound Stoic path. It is the quiet, unbreakable discipline of someone who respects their own life far too much to waste another single second on meaningless distractions or self-pity. As you step out into the demanding world today, tomorrow, and every single day after, you must constantly remind yourself that absolutely nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to magically hand you the confidence, the supreme clarity, or the iron discipline you desperately seek. You must extract those qualities from within yourself through relentless daily execution. Do not negotiate with your internal weakness for even one more minute. Stand tall, breathe deliberately, and walk into every single room as the unquestioned architect of your own destiny. You have officially stopped reacting to the chaotic world. You are completely untouchable. The world is waiting to see who you will become, but you no longer need their permission. You have the blueprint, you have the mindset, and you have the absolute authority over your own attention. Now, it is time to execute. If you absolutely refuse to shrink yourself ever again, and you are fully committed to building the strongest version of your identity, make that decision permanent today. Hit the subscribe button to join a community of individuals who refuse to negotiate with weakness. Leave a comment below saying, "I command my life," to publicly anchor your commitment. The endless noise ends today. Your new reality begins right now. Go build your fortress. See you next video.